Long time no see. It's been a while since I've done this. This isn't going to be a long video, but I was thinking about something tonight and I just felt like getting it out somewhere, and I don't feel like typing a whole bunch, so video blogging it is. My kids and I were talking a couple of days ago about how Generation X is such a lucky generation. You know how they used to say when we were kids that our generation, who are all now 30-somethings, the Generation X, the age of rebellion, the age of questioning, how we were going to question everything. Right. Anyhow, I was told so many times when I was little that I was born into the luckiest generation because we were going to see the biggest leaps in technology. And granted, that's true. Look at some of the things we've seen. In my lifetime, I've seen the induction of microwaves, VCRs, MP3 players, video games, digital cameras, computers that actually fit into your home, computers you can carry on in your wrist, like on your wrist. Things have changed a little. I still remember when my parents got our first VCR and the hassle between beta and VHS. I remember trying to figure out how to work the microwave when we first got one. We've seen some pretty amazing things happen. And with virtual reality and stem cell research and cloning, and now the discovery of this planet in another galaxy that resembles Earth so strongly it may resemble life. Granted, we'll never find out the answer, the rest of that during my lifetime, but the possibility that it's there is kind of cool. And I'm really excited to see what else is going to happen during my lifetime. Yeah, we've had some amazing things. Generation X was the age of technology. We've seen tons of amazing things. We are not the luckiest generation. My generation still had to fight against instilled stereotypes and bigotry that women were possessions, that minority races weren't as good as whites, that that non-religious was not as good as religious. I won't get into the religion tonight. There's been so many stereotypes that my generation has had to fight against. Most of my life has been my parents, well, when I was younger, my parents instilling that homosexuality was evil. These people were not born that way, they choose to be that way, and minority races weren't to be trusted, and when I got together with my ex, who was Native, that went over really well. I love my parents. Like, they're my heroes. But they're old-fashioned. They have old-fashioned ideals. They weren't born into a time when these things were commonplace. They're small town where everyone is white, so when a minority family moves in, they make an impact. And unfortunately, you get one Native family that comes in and causes problems, of course they're going to view all the rest the same. Anyhow, getting off topic. My children were raised in a completely different environment. My children and their friends and all the whole Y generation. My son asked me why they're classified as the Y generation. It's because you question everything. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to question and ask and don't accept anything at face value. Question everything. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that my children were raised in a generation where this is perfectly normal to them. They were taught from day one that you can be born one of two ways, attracted to the opposite gender or attracted to the same gender. They were taught that, and not just taught, they absorbed that different races were a part of life, that there were just as many blacks and natives and Mexicans and as there are whites. We live in a rather diverse city where there's a lot of different nationalities, so they see this on a regular basis. They were taught that women are possessions, that women are their own people, that women are just as capable of everything that a man can do. My husband has told them from day one. I remember the first day that my oldest son said, I think he saw me using a hammer, and he jumped out, "Mommy can't use a hammer, that's a boy's job." And my husband was very quick to correct him that anything a man can do, a woman can do, and usually better. His words, not mine. So, but it's not just my kids. The majority of kids were raised with these mindsets now, that women are capable of more than we've been viewed with as in the past, you know what I mean. It's late. It's going on 3 a.m. here. They were raised with the mindset that doesn't matter what your skin color is. Regarding homosexuality, there's actually a neat little story to go with this. A couple of weeks ago, my son had his Father's Day party at school. My son is 6 years old. And my husband had to go to the Father's Day party, and he came back really upset. This one little girl, Meliza, apparently had no father show up for the Father's Day party, and a few kids didn't. Like, you're always going to run the risk of parents who just, there's something better to do than celebrate something with their child, as disheartening as it is. But he came back really upset because this Meliza apparently was, he said she sat there as if it didn't even affect her, and he said he knew that she must have been bothered, but he was really angry that no one had shown up for this little girl. And then at my son's SK graduation, we see why. Meliza doesn't have a dad. Meliza has two moms. They both came to her graduation. Now, that doesn't excuse the fact that maybe a grandfather or somebody could have come to the Father's Day party. But when I asked my son about it, does Meliza have two moms? And he right away, yeah. Like, it didn't even register as different to him. It was just perfectly normal. The same way that some of his friends don't live with their parents, they live with their grandparents, or this friend lives with only a mom, or this friend lives with only a dad. It was just another family unit. As far as he was concerned, it was of no difference. I just thought that was so amazing that kids don't differentiate importance or value based on the differences. They all share the same value. And it suddenly dawned on me that my children's generation, the Generation Y, is so much luckier to be born into an age of acceptance, where these are all second nature and they don't have to rebel against the preset stereotypes of bigotry and hatred. It's nice to see. Between an age of technology or an age of acceptance, I would have much rather been born into the Generation Y. I wonder if they'll realize someday just how lucky they really are.